Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Now time for your police services facility update with your friend Jared from Peppered Construction. Jared, wow.
Lots of progress.
Lots of progress. First off, again, thank you so much for the tour last time. I mean, the work that is happening there and everything for the team to take time to let us walk around and stuff was pretty cool. Seeing the pour up close with that slab pouring and stuff was pretty cool. And just remarkable on how fast we were kind of looking back at all of our notes from the past interviews, and it's like everything just happened so fast, yet slow, yet right on target.
Right on schedule, as we like to say.
Yeah, so picking up from the last time we met, we'll start with those slab pours. Are you complete with have you completed it?
Yes, JP Cullen actually had their last slab on grade pour this Saturday. So that was the final pour. I mean, we do have one more slab pour on the Sally Port, which we'll talk about here in a second, but I would say about 90% done with the slab on grade.
Fantastic. Now, once that's in place, are we talking like some interior work now?
Absolutely, yeah. There'll be a little bit of concrete work on the inside to kind of make up the elevation difference between the main lobby and kind of that first floor of the admin area. But yes, now that topping slab's in, we'll talk in a second about interior framing that's currently underway, and then we're off to the races on the inside.
With that framing, is it I always think of the framing that happens in houses with the wood framing and structure. Right. This is not the case. No. These are like pre-made,
Yeah, this is commercial framing, so cold form metal framing is what we call it. It's kind of a light gauge steel stud. And you're correct, a lot of that comes pre-cut to length, to shoot the top track in, stand the studs, bottom track. So yeah, it's quite the process, slightly different than your wood frame in a residential home, but definitely kind of similar in some aspects.
It's pretty cool though how fast that can go too. I don't know. From what I've watched from projects, is like one day it's nothing, and then the next day it's like, oh.
Absolutely. It looks like not a lot going on. They got the layout on the floor, and then they'll mobilize a small crew and kind of knock out a large area at a time. So that does tend to go pretty quickly. It'll slow down a little bit once that framing gets stood up. And then the MEP trades, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, come in and do their roughing inside of those walls. So that process won't be as fast as the framing part, but
you're running it through between all of those framing, so it just to connect all those things is pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
We were kind of talking about that last time, just how things fit. It's pretty cool. I mean, you guys have it all down to a science, of course, but when you get in there and start laying these things out, I mean, precision's everything, right?
Absolutely. And I will say it's kind of changed quite a bit from the time I entered the industry. Right now a lot of people are doing work in the models. We call it the Revit model. So that's, to your point, where everything kind of gets flushed out in advance of the trades being on site. So they're able to kind of figure out if things will or will not fit in the wall, if we're going to have conflicts with, between a mechanical ductwork and plumbing pipes. All that kind of stuff happens behind the scenes in the virtual model, which is really kind of cool from the project management standpoint to kind of see that, and then to come to life when you're on site like we were last week. It's kind of rewarding to see all that pre-planning and work go into place.
My problem would be is if you had me on site, I would probably put it here, and you'd come back and be like, dude, you were supposed to put it here.
Well, that's what the internal quality control checks are for, and why it's also helpful to have that model. Now with technology, everything on our phones, our iPads, it can be pulled up right in the field, and I could be having that conversation with you of, hey, Jeremy, here, you're supposed to be on this column.
Hey, dude, you were supposed to put it here, and
right. So it's very neat to see how that all comes together.
And that's the thing, as somebody who's sitting back and watching this come together, that it's just the precision is top notch as they're building that. Moving down into I'm going to call it the basement area. You said the Sally Port is also been poured up and then ready to go. What are we doing down there?
Yeah, so the Sally Port's going to be kind of off the first floor, right off grade, off of Lacey Road. So they put the foundations in, I think, kind of right around the time we were on site filming. And then they did the block walls that will be the structure for the Sally Port. And then now that Sally Port's complete, the mason crew will be mobilizing down to the basement to do the interior block work. So, the locker rooms, high-density storage areas, vehicle processing bay, all those have block walls. And now that the mason's done on the outside, they'll move to the basement, and then eventually they'll work up to the first floor into the holding area where the cells will be eventually.
Yeah, I mean, when we were down there, they were just grading it off and getting ready to pour those floors in and stuff. So said it's always, you're just cruising. You're cruising. Over to the outside world, the drilling operation. I asked him, like, are you done yet, Jared?
No, it's still underway. Still got 2 crews drilling. They are working Saturdays, so I think if people see that, they are still out there drilling, trying to get this done as fast as physically possible. The goal is, like we talked about last time, get that drilling done so JP Cullen can come in and do the site work here before winter sets in. Landscaping, asphalt paving, all those kind of have temperature restrictions. And we're sitting here today, it's almost August 1st, so, fall will be here before we know it.
Don't you say that word.
I know.
How dare you.
I want to hold on to summer as long as we can. But.
It's true, I do too. And how many remind folks, how many holes are we drilling? This is for the geothermals too, we should be clear on that.
46.
46. Whew, that's a lot of drilling.
Over halfway. So.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, rocking and rolling.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. And then finally on Research Park Drive, we have had that closed for work. What have they been doing out there?
So they were redoing the parking spots. The reverse parking spaces by the library there are getting switched around. Redoing some storm work, for the additional infrastructure that's going in. And then eventually they'll be repaving Research Park, which should happen here in the next week or so, and get that road back open.
All right. As we look ahead now, air, we talked a little bit about this last time, but as you're looking at the outside stuff,
sure,
the air and vapor.
Yes, so I think right now, you'll see the framing sheathing is kind of working its way across the building. I mean, they've really made some good progress on the west side. You'll start to see like they're prepping the sheathing in advance of the air and vapor barrier. I think we talked last time, once that prep work's done, they'll come in and spray that all out. It kind of gives the building its skin or the envelope. And that'll turn the yellow sheathing to blue. And then shortly after you see that turn to blue, you'll start to see the masons remobilize to do the exterior facade final brickwork on the building.
Fantastic. And then windows, too. You've got some windows. You can kind of see some of that framed out already.
Yep, you absolutely can. Window openings are framed. Again, they got to return the envelope into the openings. The windows will get set. And then the brickwork will follow. So yeah, you're correct. I missed that part, but the windows need to go in.
I wrote it down. That's the only reason I remember.
Windows need to go in first before they put the brick. That would be bad if they were not.
It's okay, Jared. Nobody's keeping tabs on what you're doing here except everybody out.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of people keeping tabs.
They're going to have some talks with you after this interview.
If that building leaks, that would not be a good thing. But we're paying close control to quality control.
I was going to say, so how close are we? I mean, obviously we want to get this kind of closed up before winter here, so we'll be on track for that.
Yes, absolutely. I think you'll see some of the roof blockings going in right now if you're really looking close. And the roofers mobilize the insulations on site. So shortly the roof and the membrane will start to go on, and that'll really give us a lot of moisture control from above. And obviously we talked about the walls getting treated and kind of ready for the skin. So.
I mean, you got a lot of things to get wrapped up here before winter time.
That's construction.
Right.
We're used to that every year. Trying to race to beat the winter, get the building enclosed. That's something we do every single year. So it's a race to get the building weather tight before the season changes. So
well, as you look back, and we've had this time lapse, to look back from day one which started in snow, mind you, to where you are today. I mean, it's pretty incredible. It happens so fast.
Absolutely.
It's pretty incredible. But I think too, the weather. You never know.
Right.
But I feel like the weather's been hot and sort of dry. So is that helped?
Yeah, knock on wood. Yes, we've been, we had it pretty wet early on, which was a little bit challenging, but I'd say this summer, obviously the grass, you look around and we could use a little bit of rain. I don't like saying that in construction, but yes, we've been very fortunate so far with the summer we've had. Not a ton of rain days, trying to get as much progress as we can. And we're hopeful that continues until the building's weather tight, and then it can rain and snow all at once while they work away on the inside of the building.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I appreciate the update. We'll be coming back here next month and, progress.
Do it again.
Yeah, I mean, eventually we're going to be just inside looking around, right? Like,
Right.
once you get to the inside, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'll have to get you back for another field trip here.
Yeah, I'll be doing drywall with you.
There we go.
Drywall.
The finishing part.
That's the tough stuff. All right, Jared, appreciate your time. As
Thank
always.
you.